What is up, everyone? Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, as I've mentioned in the weekly kickoff on Monday, expect to have news related to the upcoming fusion pretty damn soon. And here we are. We have a new fusion starting next week. I think that, in a way or another, it's safe to say that for whoever wants to skip it, you can do it. A lot of people won't have an option anyway, because if you're looking at the resources that you have left after all of the TMNT collaboration, probably you're pretty damn broke. Same like me, right? But I was very curious to see if Plarium will kind of like release a stupid broken fusion or something like that to make us want to go for it no matter what. Or they're going to make a fusion that's kind of like whatever and people get to skip, relax, do whatever, you know? But let's dive straight into it. Next Thursday, November 20th, they are planning to launch a champion fragment event for a new champion, Kroz Wallbreaker. You can see him in the background. He is an Ogryn tribe champion, legendary, attack, spirit, affinity. Now, when I see attack and spirit affinity next to each other, that instantly makes me feel like, you know what? I don't think I need that champion, because the meta is just so crazy at the moment, revolving around magic champions, that spirit champions are just not that reliable, especially if they do debuffs or damage, because they can weak hit a lot. Now, if they're support champions, that's a completely different story, but this is an attack-based champion. We're not done showing love to the Ogryn tribes just yet. I mean, I'm not sure. I feel like they really need some good revivers in here, not more damage dealers. No? What do you guys think? Either way, they're introducing a new member with an explosive personality, Kroz Wallbreaker, a damage dealer built around the power of the bomb debuff. I mean, we already have plenty of bombers in this faction. I mean, plenty. We have War Mother, and we still have some epics, if I'm not mistaken, like Grunge. I don't think we need more bombers in here. We need some revivers. Our goal was to give players a strong, accessible Ogryn damage dealer who can pull weight in both arena and faction wars, especially for those who may not have a wide variety of champions in this faction. Kroz can place bomb debuffs on all enemies while boosting his own turn meter, then follow up by reducing bomb timers and applying either an active skill cooldown increase or a stun, leaving enemies unable to retaliate. That sounds pretty good. Now, I'm not saying he's a bad champion at all. I'm not saying he's a great champion. We're going to check the skill set and see basically what a champion does, but he's a bomber, right? A lot of people might actually find a use for the champion. Let's quickly dive into the kit. So, here it is. Pulverizing Pummel attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit has a chance of decreasing the detonation countdown of all bomb debuffs on the target for 1 turn. Also has a chance of placing a stun debuff on the target for 1 turn. This can be nice maybe versus the Bommel boss in the Doom Tower, right? So if you might be struggling with that boss, you could consider this fusion champion. You need 4 books into the A1. With a second skill, which is Battlefield Saper, and will go down to a 4-turn cooldown fully booked, you need another 4 books in here, which is a total of 8 books. Fully booked will have a 100% chance of placing 2 bomb debuffs on each enemy that detonate after 2 turns. Fills this champion turn meter by 25% for each enemy with a bomb debuff. Okay, so let me just quickly explain you how this works, okay? So it will fill this champion's turn meter by 25. It doesn't matter if you land 1, 2, 3, or 100 bombs on one enemy, you're still getting 25% turn meter per enemy. You're not getting turn meter per bomb. So if you're landing 4 bombs on 4 enemies, you're gonna get 100% turn meter, okay? That's how it's gonna work. Now, one thing that it seems to be good about this skill is the fact that it doesn't say he's attacking. He's just landing the debuffs, which means he's not going to weak hit. So being Spirit Affinity, all of a sudden, is not such a big problem anymore, right? Because if you don't weak hit, you're gonna land the bombs just fine, which will most likely enable you to move on to the A3 skill. The only problem is the turn meter in Raid tends to go past the 100%. So it means that if you're attacking an enemy that's somewhat in close proximity in terms of speed with your champion, and you're landing the bombs, you're gaining that 100% turn meter, the enemy might have 110, 120, and he's going to go in front of your champion, okay? Which means that he's not going to be able to go straight into the A3 and decrease the duration of the bombs. But let's see what the A3 actually does. Mangonel Maul attacks all enemies, and this will be on a 3-turn cooldown fully booked. Has a chance of decreasing the detonation countdown of all bomb debuffs by 1 turn. Also has a chance of placing a block active skill debuff for 2 turns, which is actually not bad at all. The only thing is, if you're hitting Stone Skin, that block active skills won't do nothing. I do like the idea of having another bomber similar with Nishak, similar with Commodus, that has a chance to detonate the bombs straight away, right? I think that's really, really cool. And if he has good multipliers, he might actually be a really badass champion. Who knows? Then you need 4 more books in here. You need a total of 12 books to max this champion. With a passive, Bomb Breacher fills all allies' turn meter by 5% each time a bomb detonates. That's nice. Basically, you rotate the turn meter on the team pretty damn often. But the thing is, if you're not killing them with these bombs, you're kind of like in trouble, more or less. The whole idea is that you will need very high accuracy on him, very high attack on him to get the job done. Similar with Agnishak. And I think it's much harder to make it work. Unlike Commodus, which already ignores so much resistance on the enemies, right? But of course, you don't have Commodus, you don't have Nishak. This should be a champion that will provide a lot of value on your account, especially in PvP, to help you deal with the Stone Skin. We have an aura that increases ally attack in all battles by 30%, and we have another effect in the passive, which has a 20% chance of activating an instant turn effect on this champion whenever an ally or an enemy is killed by a bomb debuff. That can be really, really, really nice, actually. It's only a 20% chance, but just imagine, you're going versus a team, you have the first enemy taking a turn after you decrease the duration of bombs on them, they die, right? And you're going to get an instant turn if the 20% chance procs, which enables you to go in with A1. Maybe you have an enemy that might survive. Maybe you're going to go versus a Galatir or versus a super tanky champion. It might survive. So then you're going to go in with A1. You're going to try to detonate a bomb and land a stun, which can actually be very, very helpful. What do I think about the champion? Truth be told, it's very hard to say if he's going to be good or not. It will depend based on what multipliers he has, even though we're not talking about raw damage, we're talking about bomb multipliers. They are bombers that do not perform good in the game, and a very good example of it is going to be War Mother. She has good attack. She should be doing tons and tons of damage, but unfortunately, she just doesn't, right? We have other champions that have much better multipliers in terms of bombs. Gaius, for example, has good multipliers. Nishak has good multipliers. So as long as he's kind of like on par with those characters, I think he can be very, very good. And especially if you are missing bombers, he can potentially be extremely helpful. Now, we do have, I think, a stage. We do have a stage which was so painful, I just remember right now, versus the Ogryn tribe. Can't remember, was it somewhere right here, 15, 16, 17, or maybe 13, where you gotta kill a specific number of enemies with bombs. And I think the champion is gonna be very, very helpful in there. Is he gonna be very helpful in PvP or high-end PvP? Probably not. But for tag team arena, if you need an extra team, for classic arena, if you're just tired of dealing with Stone Skin and you don't have a better way of dealing with it, the bombs can literally end the fight like this. And what's good about bombs in general is that they do not trigger passives, okay, which is really, really good. If you're going versus champions like, let's just say, Siegfried, right? He has this crazy passive. This won't proc. It will kill Siegfried. The block damage will never pop in here. And there are many other champions, for example, like even Leonardo. His passive won't proc. He's just gonna die. If we're talking about other champions like Arnon, the same story goes with him too. The bombs just do not trigger these crazy, crazy passives. If you're gonna melt the stone skin with HP burn and then you're relying to bring in a different damage dealer, the passive will proc. That's where Ramantu kind of like comes in play, or some crowd control debuffs on them. That's why I think for a lot of people he can be a very useful champion. I'm still kind of like on the edge because I'm really not super loaded in terms of resources. I might be able, of course, to pile up enough till next week. We're gonna start the fusion with a summon rush. Okay, something to keep in mind as well, because we had a hero path last weekend. This weekend we're gonna have a champion chase tournament, and next weekend we should have a summon rush, as long as they're not changing their plans, and most likely they won't. Another thing to keep in mind: Christmas time is around the corner. We will have another fusion during that time, which could potentially turn out to be better, or it can turn out to be worse than this one. So it really depends if you think that this champion will provide any value on your account. I think if you have Nishak, you won't really gain much value except faction wars. So I don't like think about it in the following way, right? You might want to go for it, you might not. But either way, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you looking for a bomber? I really wish they would have done a reviver for this faction instead of it. But hey, maybe we're gonna get one in, I don't know, 1,000 years or something like that, because it really feels like this faction could use a good reviver. Either way, much love. Appreciate all of you guys watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.